Hello and welcome to Context Needed. I am Kyle, joined by the weeb, conspiracy, trash boy, that is Ryan.
Visors down. Engage, full weeb.
That's almost as bad as the, light intensity one when you push them up to your nose.
Yeah. Wait.
But
I have a plan for this.
And the super rare Shooty McShooty Gacha Fast Boy Ollie with his finger guns.
Do.
How you guys been?
All right.
Terrific.
Just remember my phone is in the light. Hold on.
Wait, what?
Oh, he's up again.
There we go. Got it.
Why was your...
I put my phone in the... I was using... you see, I've told you about how I tether, haven't I?
Yeah.
With my phone, my internet speed. I was downloading the new Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Ah.
Because that is out tomorrow.
And I'm guessing putting your phone in the light makes it actually download quicker.
Yeah, I at the moment my internet's about 10 meg and I get about 1.1 megabytes a second down. Whereas with that I get up to about 70 meg, so I'll get like 6 meg a second down.
I feel so bad. I feel so sorry for you at times, man.
I know, because the new flight sim's 150 gig, so it downloaded in like a few minutes, which makes me think it gives me one of two things. Either I think that the game itself's quite small, because when you think about it, all it's got to be is a few textures and planes and stuff, and the rest, because the new one streams off an algorithm, and I'm wondering if it's literally just dead space to fill up for when the game's running. I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me if that was one way, but it could also be that what it's doing is it's downloaded the initial chunk. So it basically, say you was able to play it now, it would have downloaded the initial chunk where you can play it with like certain areas or certain planes,
and then it asks you to download the rest when you load it.
Because I've had that with Forza Horizon 4, when it's like partially downloaded, it will tell you when it can be played, even when it's still downloading. Whereas according to the pre-download for the game, it's 100% downloaded.
I do kind of have a little bit of a flex on that still downloading thing. No, just the still downloading thing, still installing. So the Modern Warfare 2 remastered campaign was on PlayStation Plus. So, downloaded it, said I could play it, so I started playing it, and I was like, you know what, fuck this, veteran mode straight away, because I want to get all those trophies out of the way now, because veteran mode's obviously the hardest bit. It got to the point where I was going through the game so fast, it went, can you wait like 10 minutes while we finish downloading the rest of the game, please?
Alright. I thought you were gonna say, oh, my internet's so fast that it downloaded the game as fast as I could play it, like...
No,
that's what I thought you were gonna say.
It's a weird thing with the PlayStation. Like, as soon as you're doing stuff with it, the actual download speed slows right down. Like, it just slows down ridiculous amounts. So, like, if I'm when I was downloading it at first, I closed all the other applications and didn't touch it, so it was downloading quicker, and it did download at a decent speed then. But as soon as you open YouTube or go into a different game, it goes down to snail speeds.
Oh.
But
it goes down to my speed.
Yeah, it goes down to Ollie speed basically. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about, originally I was going just to say that we could talk about media or anything that basically has ridiculously serious characters, but the rest of it's just batshit insane. But the only easy way of explaining that is just the game Yakuza. Because, I mean, have you guys ever played Yakuza?
I've never played it.
Nada.
Okay, so if ever you get a chance, give it a go. Because you've got Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, are probably the two best ones. And put it this way.
How old are they? Are they kind of old?
Yakuza Kiwami is a remake of the PlayStation 2 original.
I was going to say, I think I've seen some clips from Yakuza. I think.
The original Yakuza, back when they first came out, they had a dub. And and I'm sure Mark Hamill plays a guy called Majima, who's fucking insane, like actually insane. To put into perspective the craziness of this game, Yakuza Kiwami, you play as Kiryu Kazuma. He is called the Dragon of Dojima. He is part of the Yakuza family. They're collecting all these like kind of debts, and then something really bad happens where his childhood friend and nearly girlfriend, they're quite close, is about to get raped by someone. His friend kills this person who turns out to be a patriarch of a family in the Yakuza. So Kiryu goes down for it, goes to prison for 10 years and comes back, and it's a hard-boiled thing of trying to find the girl and trying to find what actually happened to her because she's gone missing, and it's really all so serious, like the way the story is presented, like with the Yakuza families and stuff. So that's the story. And then you can go and find collectible cards of women that are very voluptuous, dressed as certain bugs, which you can play games in arcades of them wrestling. You can go play Outrun in the arcades. You can.
It's just Japan Simulator, isn't it? Sure.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, so that's that. The crazy guy, Majima, loves to attack you and scream "Kiryu-chan" kind of thing. And there's literally an entire like game mechanic about how he just appears out of nowhere, fights you because he wants to make you as strong as you was before, so he could have another good fight with you, and then just runs off like, "Yeah, I'm bored now. See you later." And it's like it's so stupid that there'll be times where you'll be walking through the street and a cutscene happens, and literally it'll just be a manhole that you'll just see go, "Kiryu-chan," and then he attacks you.
Can we talk about the transformation of the developer of the game?
Wait, what? I haven't seen that.
I've said you might want to bring this up on the stream on the recording. I've sent it in the chat, right? I'll send it to you on Facebook.
Yeah, send it me on Facebook because it'll be easy for me to grab it from there.
But this is the guy who developed Yakuza. Now, he used to develop Super Monkey Ball.
Okay.
You're just waiting to see the transformation. There we go. I've sent it through to you.
The thing with the game though is because everything's taken so seriously, like the combat is actually really, really fun and really good to play as well.
I've seen like the dancing scene. I've seen that loads of times in like memes, and it always makes me crack up. I was like, "What the fuck's going on here?"
I won't be able to get it on stream. I've seen that picture before. Yeah, so like, there's other things you can do. Like in Yakuza 0, you can go and do dance-offs. You know, this big fucking Yakuza dude who looks like he could kick your head in goes and does a dance-off. But the way Kiryu's character is, he's very like, when he's talking to people, he's I wouldn't say stoic, but nearly stoic. So like, he doesn't really show his emotions as much, apart from when he's in like a really, really flared up fight. But when you go watch him go into the dance, he literally like, he'll slide across the dance floor on his knees and then just like point at the people and like, "Let's go," kind of thing. Because it's all just like, and actually there's one bit you'd find funny as well. There's a thing called Pocket Racer, Ollie, and it's like think like you know those Hot Wheels tracks you can get.
Yeah, the orange track ones. Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. Yeah, so it's like that, but they race these cars called Pocket Racers, and you can customize it so like you can have like different tires, different motors, different batteries, all this kind of stuff. But like, when you win, he like really goes over the top, like with his like, say it's called like the speed bullet. He goes, "My speed bullet is the champion," kind of thing.
Is it Yakuza where it might not be Yakuza? It might be a different game I'm thinking of, where there's like a kind of a hidden mini game where you can race ducks.
Yes.
Is that Yakuza?
That's Yakuza.
Is it Yakuza?
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's like feathers that fall every now and then, and you got to like get them, haven't you? And if you get them all, you unlock like the duck racing minigame.
Yeah, I never got that far with. I can't remember which one that one's on. I think it might be Kiwami. But because the way the side stories work, they're just. It's so weird. It's a very bizarre game. Oh, the
whole thing is surreal.
The thing that makes it so good though is because it's so bizarre, and then you can literally be okay, I'm done with the bizarreness now. Let's go into the main story, and then it goes to literally true crime, full on gritty Yakuza storyline.
I guess that's kind of like what GTA is like, I suppose. Like on GTA 5 and 4, like the story's for the most part quite serious and gritty, and then like all the stuff on the side is just ridiculous.
Hello, brother! You want to go bowling?
I think an easy way of doing it there. So get GTA and then Saints Row, mix them together, and then Japanify it. Yeah, and then Japanify it. That's kind of the easiest way to explain the mentalness of these games. It's like the combat as well is like just. Bear in mind, these people have never killed anyone apart from when it's in the story. They don't kill anyone apart from the story, and you'll do moves where it's like, okay, so I've just grabbed this guy, slammed his head into a car, put it in between the car door, and then just kicked the car door multiple times into his head. But don't worry, he's alive.
Okay.
Totally realistic, bro. Totally realistic.
I'm gonna stab this guy with a knife multiple times, but don't worry, he's still alive. He's just a drunkard. It's fine.
It's just the flesh wound, bro. It's just the flesh wound.
It's so like seriously. If ever you guys get the chance to like play the game, it's so worth it. It's a very slow burn. At first,
I might have to emulate it at some point because I haven't got a PlayStation at all.
It's on PC. You can get it on PC.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I'm sure it's on Steam. I don't know how well it plays on them, but I'm sure it's on there.
It doesn't have to be amazing as long as it's stable and just playable. I don't really care.
But it's a very slow burn at first, but you'll see just how crazily over the top it gets. I mean, I think I told you guys. Like, I think it's Yakuza 0. You can go into an arena and actually fight a bear.
Like, there's 0, Kiwami 2, Kiwami.
Yes, so you've got Yakuza 0, which is the prequel, which is one of the more recent games released. Yakuza Kiwami is a remake of the original Yakuza. Then Yakuza Kiwami 2 is a remake of Yakuza 2.
Got it.
And then I think 3, 4, and 5...
Yakuza Empire and Yakuza Like a Dragon, are they different games?
Like a Dragon is the newest one. That's Yakuza 7.
Empire is a different game, but looks
I haven't seen Yakuza Empires, but so
that's
3, 4, and 5 have like got a remastered variant that you can get like a bundle of them, and then Yakuza 6 is like on PlayStation 4 and PC, and Yakuza Like a Dragon. They've completely changed like the way the combat works. They've turned it into like a turn-based game because they always knew like
Japanese MMORPG or something, or a Japanese RPG.
Yeah, it's basically like a Japanese RPG. Think like Persona 5 or Final Fantasy. But they kind of changed it all because the I don't think people were a fan of the newer combat style they did in like the most recent ones. So I think they wanted to try something new because they knew most people played the game for the ridiculousness and the story and the complete over-the-top aspect of it. So there was like, oh, well, let's just try this and they'll see how it goes. So I do really want to play Yakuza. It is.
Yeah, it's pricey, but the graphics.
It is brand new. Yakuza 7 is literally only like a couple of months old.
It looks really good.
Yeah, they the way they animate some of the punches are just so well done. Like when he lands like a good punch straight across someone's face, and they do it in slow motion, you see all the detail. It's so incredibly well done. Yes,
pretty sure I just watched a woman knock somebody out with a vibrator.
Yep, that happens. There's a side story in one of them. There's a side story in one of them where you're walking past an S&M bar, like a sadomasochist bar, and a guy's like not happy with the way that his femdom's treating him because she's not being sadomasochistic enough to him because she's quite nervous, and you literally have to go back and forth to her multiple times to help explain to her and help her understand how to be a good femdom. Once you've done that, you can then unlock a move where if you're on the same street as her and you do a heat move, you throw a guy over to her and she spanks them with a horsewhip. That's a move you can get done in combat.
Oh, wow.
What? Oh, what the fuck?
And then
What the fuck is that?
This is on Kiwami 2, I think, this one. And there's a load of, like, side missions like that where you unlock a move from them. And there's one where it's an older lady who just basically wants some, like, company kind of thing. And when you finish her, like, side story, if you do a heat move next to her, she throws a hot pot on the enemy.
For fuck's sake. Man, I don't know, like, games where they're too serious at times. I don't know how I feel quite about Yakuza, like the sound of it. It sounds fun.
I was gonna say I don't mind games that are serious, but like I do like games that just don't take themselves seriously.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing I actually quite liked about Witcher was as gritty and dark as it was, they also kind of took the piss out of themselves a bit as well, which was quite funny.
Yeah, I've still not played Witcher 3.
Well.
I can't get along with it. Like,
I only played Witcher 3, though I did look back into a lot of the lore as well while playing it to kind of get a bit more context. After playing Dark Souls, I found the combat system really weird, and that was the hardest hurdle for me to play it. But I stuck with it, and I've got to say, it's got to be one of the best RPGs I've ever played. It's such a good game.
I have heard good things about Witcher.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Like, I tried playing the first two, but the combat in that's fucked.
The first one is there's no point in playing. I've heard.
Yeah, but the third one, like, I don't even think the combat, like the controls, especially on keyboard, I really don't think they've been improved that much, even with the fact that they brought in the guy who did the fix for it.
Yeah,
if I was going to play it, I'd play it on controller. Like a lot of games like that, when I play them on PC, I usually just plug in the controller.
Yeah,
it's like when I was playing Resident Evil 5 with you, I'd plug in the controller just because I'm used to playing it with a controller.
I don't know what you're on about. Mouse and keyboard for Resident Evil 5, which we do need to finish, is perfect fine.
It's terrible.
Don't let anybody tell you it's fucked. I think it's okay. I mean, I don't think it's a game. I think I could actually like miss playing thingy, and I'd just play. I'd read it. I'd probably read Witcher before I played it, especially after watching the series. The series was so good.
I did like.
Yeah, I was going to say, and they did a fantastic. I was really kind of unsure, like when I was reading a lot of it, because there was loads of. It sounded like Netflix tried to go a bit SJW on it. Like this character who is a pale white girl with white hair, they wanted to cast as is it BAME? It's like Black, Asian, and other minority or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, don't get me wrong, I'm all for inclusion, but it's like literally this one's character is that she is pale white with ashen skin and grey hair.
It's based in medieval Europe, you know, like it's like the South, like what is it?
Yeah,
not South, Eastern European.
It's
Eastern European, and then they're like, don't worry, we'll just make it for everybody. And I'm like,
but they didn't do that, and it was a fucking good TV show.
Oh no, they did.
I think one of my favorite things was
they did bring in she wasn't white. The person who plays Triss is not, you know, redheaded. There's nothing wrong with her. She's a good actor.
Siri, I was on about.
Oh yeah, no, but they did it with Triss. She's meant to be pale and ginger.
But apparently, according to the books, Triss looks like does according to the books. She looks nothing like. And I will say, it's weird. I don't know how they've done it. Like they've made the woman who plays Triss look really weird in the show, but if you look the actress up, she is insanely hot. And I don't know how they managed to make her so unattractive in the show.
Yeah, it really threw me because like Triss, I remember the description from the game. I haven't read the books. I know the description from the game was meant to be that she was a very incredibly attractive mage. She was like jaw-droppingly attractive, and then like I see her in the series, and I'm like, what?
But the only thing
went wrong here?
The only thing I'm assuming is they're gonna change it up as it goes on, because the actress is really good looking, but they somehow made her look like an old woman somehow. I don't know how they.
She was only in it for like.
She was in like, the last episode, weren't she?
She was in like the one with the spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. She was in the one with the princess who was the monster, which is from like the trailer for the first game.
I can't remember.
Where he goes into the crypt on his own. She was in that.
Yeah.
Because she stops him. She's the witch for that place. And it turns out the king had been shagging his sister or something, and then he's killed his sister.
It was some fucked up stuff, and he goes in anyway, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he goes in, he fights that girl. Well, he saves that girl in the end.
I think the thing I liked most is I remember there was loads of people that were getting like worried about Henry Cavill being the Witcher. People were getting quite worried about Henry Cavill being the Witcher. Because,
was that first picture where his wig looked like fucking
wig looked fucking terrible. The makeup looked terrible. And he was too built. He was way too built to be like someone like a Witcher. But then obviously, like, when the series came out, it looks like he's cut himself muscle-wise quite a lot. And he's just like leaned himself out. But it's just the way he voices him as well, because like he got a good mix of, from what I remember reading, he got the mix of the way he is in the character, the way he is in the game, and the book. Because apparently in the book he's really eloquent and does loads of monologues, but in the game he's not like that at all. So that they got a good
rough and
so they got the nice good middle. And yes, it's just those moments just. Fuck.
Henry Cavill, stop it. I can only get so hard.
Henry Cavill is actually a massive nerd and a massive gamer as well.
Yeah,
he's played all the games, so he was like, I'm really excited. And to be fair, if you ever get someone who was going to do like the lead for a video game series
of such,
you can guarantee they won't have ever played the games. Maybe they might have done it briefly, whereas like he's actually a big Witcher fan, so like you can tell.
I was watching an interview with him, and he nearly I can't remember if it was he nearly missed the interview or he nearly failed the interview for the Superman role because he was too busy playing World of Warcraft.
I believe that.
Apparently there's a brilliant video of him building his own PC on Instagram.
Yeah,
there is. Yeah, Danny follows him on Instagram.
It's like, Henry Cavill, stop! My penis is diamonds enough as it is. Stop.
The thing is, though, there was all these women that over-sexualized it, and I'm like, stop it. Stop it! You can't do that. That's bad.
Not an object.
We're not allowed to do that. But then I'm like, God damn! Look at that man. He is. Whoa.
Look at that man build that PC.
Jesus!
Look at him.
Look at them biceps as he lifts that graphics card into the PCI slot.
Stop.
But
we're gonna have to. It's getting too hot and horny in here.
It's with The Witcher 3. It's a bit of a slow start, but I'm glad I stuck with it because I first played it and Danny's brother had it on his computer and I just quickly had a go and I thought, don't see what all the hype's about. And I actually had it free when I had my GTX 970 and I gave the code away because I just didn't care that much.
Yeah.
And then eventually I was just bored and after a game I was go on, I'll give it a go. I think it was cheap on a deal or something. And yeah, honestly, I think it's got to be one of the best RPGs with the best story I've ever played.
It's one that, because I did start playing the second one when I sailed the
second one's decent. Like, I started it, but I couldn't.
I sailed the 7 seas to try it because I didn't have the money at the time. And I played maybe like 2 hours or so of it. But then like my PC was dying anyway, so it didn't really run it very well. And I did quite enjoy it, but I think what I'm going to do once I've finished... there's
Mass Effect.
Yeah, so there is news. I am coming back, so we are going to be going back to regular streaming. We're going to go back to live, so on and so forth.
Yeah!
We'll talk about that probably in the next one or at some other point, but I want to finish off the Mass Effect stream with the wife, and then I've got another game that I want to play that I've always been looking at with the wife, but Witcher 3 is one of those ones where, like, I want to do Witcher 3 with the wife kind of thing, because she always enjoys the story side of the games.
We see how it is streaming with your wife more than us now. God damn it.
Oh, I have already... I need to actually say to you guys, I do want to, for my first stream back, go back to the old school and either play Bad Company 2 or Battlefield 3.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do Battlefield 3 on PC, bro. I'll re-download that any day.
I haven't got either of them, but I'd be down for Bad Company. Well, I'd be down for 3 as well, but...
Yeah, it don't matter which one you guys want to play, even if you want to go between them both. I just want to do, like, a night of just going back to those 2 games, because I fucking love those games.
Yeah, Battlefield, definitely.
Speaking of game recommendations, and also one, if ever I get the ability to stream, I'd really like to stream it, and it's a new game I've been playing. You might have seen me mention in the chat, called X Anima.
Yeah, I saw you put that in the chat.
Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it.
The name rings a bell. Let me see.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an odd one. It's like a kind of sort of top-down dungeon crawler.
Yes,
you've probably seen someone on YouTube play it, because it seems to be doing the rounds at the moment.
Oh, I remember seeing this from ages ago, because it was
early access at the moment.
Yeah,
it's still early access. But really enjoying it. It's a bit of a weird one. Like, the controls are... It's cool in that everything is physics. Like, absolutely everything. The combat is all physics-based, so, like, it's kind of hard to play. Like, I was unsure whether I was going to refund it, and I stuck with it, and I'm glad I did, because I'm really enjoying it now. There's like an arena mode where you can level up and you literally just do basic combat, or there's like a dungeon crawl mode where basically just you've got a torch walking down dark. It's basically a maze in the dark, basically, but you've got a torch and a weapon. And there's kind of like zombies, but with weapons in there, but they're not all hostile. Like, I think the idea is that's just like, you don't know who you are, you've been dropped into this dungeon, and there's loads of people who are in the same situation. So, like, you can find people who are still, like, human, and, like, you can talk to them and they'll come with you. Or you'll find the zombie ones, and they kind of just mindlessly roam around, but they don't hurt you.
Is this a Dark Souls? Is this a Dark Souls ripoff?
It's Dark Souls.
The only way I can describe it is it's Dark Souls meets Human Fall Flat meets Quap.
Yeah.
Oh God!
I remember when I watched it.
When I watched it, trips on your own axe, dies.
Yeah.
I've died from tripping over like stools. You trip over, like, if you're not careful, you can trip over stuff.
I do remember watching it from a while back, because I think it's been in development for quite some time, or something like
I've
this.
I've only just come across it this week.
Yeah, but it was a guy called His name on YouTube's like David Angel, but he had a series where I first saw him was called X Plays Minecraft. That was where I first like really got into Minecraft. But he did a video on it.
Let's go back to Minecraft.
Let's
go back to Minecraft.
He did a video on it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, so you move like your mouse, it will swing your sword." And as he's going, "Yeah, so you can really like put some force in while swinging your mouse." And as he did that, he swung, and the physics glitched, twisted his wrist, and he cut his own head off.
Not sure if it's the same game. There's no decapitation or anything in it. Might be a different game.
He basically cut and killed himself because it was early access. He was swinging, but the game.
I think maybe they've changed it now. Because I've had my weapons phase through me a few times and I've had no damage. So maybe that was an old version.
But yeah, so I've got a feeling like
maybe it did happen and it kept happening. Yeah, maybe it kept happening.
Because
I keep decapitating myself.
There's always that issue with physics-based games and like physics-based skeletons and ragdolls and stuff, where like the bones just every now and then just go fucking nope and just go everywhere.
Yeah, I will say it's pretty good. Like, it feels natural. Like, if you have like a sledgehammer and you land a good hit, like it really like knocks. Even if they block it, it'll like knock them down a bit. So like they may not get the impact, but it'll still knock them down. But it's really good. Like, I was really unsure on it. Like, I just saw someone playing it. I thought, oh, that looks interesting. Saw it was £10 on Steam, and still is, I think.
Yeah, I just saw it's still £10.
But really good. I only wish it was maybe like multiplayer, because I literally see no reason why it couldn't be. It seems like it would take to being multiplayer really well.
It may just be the way.
Actually, really quite good on it.
Yeah, it may just be the way that they've got the game running. It's one of those things where it's quite difficult to just span a hand multiplayer into games, because I mean, look, they tried to do a multiplayer mod for Skyrim. Skyrim's fucking jank as it is, let alone trying to span a hand multiplayer. And I mean, they couldn't even fucking do it themselves.
No.
They'd Fallout
Then
76
they
and still
made
fucking
the
failed.
Elder Scrolls Online. Biggest waste of my money.
I've never played yet.
I tried it. I think I played it for like 4 hours. And luckily, I didn't pay for it. It was just like a free trial that was given to me. And I played 4 hours, and I was just like, nah, get that shit out of here. It was just not interesting whatsoever.
May or may not have pre-ordered it.
Well, I was interested in it. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, that sounds awesome, but I never did play it.
Yeah, it's just boring, I found.
Yeah,
I can see how you could have bought into the hype, like, very easily. I can see that.
It could have been so much better. And, like, it was so close to being at least decent. But then I actually played it in...
But it's not the same team, though, is it? It's not made by, like...
ZeniMax who made it.
Yeah.
So it's ZeniMax who made it. And they
ZeniMax owns Bethesda. ZeniMax the publisher, so it wouldn't surprise me if they got a different team in to make it.
Yeah. They fucked with the lore. And they fucked the lore of Elder Scrolls. I don't know what they did. Somebody said it to me. It's like they basically fuck it all about, and it goes all fucky, and it's like, why did you do this? What a waste of time.
I can't believe you've done this.
Question, actually.
And then the gameplay was just stale. Like, it felt like it looked originally. I was like, oh my God, it looks like Skyrim. And I played it for like one of the beta evenings, and I absolutely adored playing it. Like, I was just doing the same thing over and over again, but I enjoyed it. But then, like,
that's all Skyrim is. It's just fetch quest, get new weapon, get new armor, do it again.
But then it came out, and I'm playing it, and I'm just like, I'm hitting somebody, and I'm doing a power attack because you'd basically got that basic, Skyrim fighting skills were there.
Yeah.
And then you had like the extra kind of MMO parts where you then put in stuff. You just didn't feel like in Skyrim when you do a lunge attack, you feel like you're actually like putting your weight behind it, like the way they've made it look.
There's like
the
a wind up, isn't there?
Yeah. It makes you feel like you've done power. Now,
it adds weight. I think that's the thing it adds is weight.
That's the word I was looking for. In Elder Scrolls Online, you're fucking churning back, but you're just like, It's like, you don't feel that kind of thing. And this is something that's put me off playing games.
There's an issue with that across a lot of games, though. Finding the weight in, like, especially melee combat is quite difficult. I mean, even games like, UFC 4's just came out, and I'm really fucking, like, hyped. I really would like to try it, but I'm not spending 60 quid, 50 quid on this game, which is pretty much like a derivative. Like, it's just like a simple upgrade. They've upgraded
it's the same as the last one, like FIFA, isn't it?
They have done some cool stuff for someone who's interested in that stuff, like me. Like, they upgraded, like, Clinch Game, which is a cool thing, but, like, it still just feels weak when you're doing ground and pound. That's got to be the heaviest feeling punches ever, because you literally sat on the guy going for it to try and knock the guy out. But when I've been watching the combat, it just feels like it's like it doesn't have that weight to it.
Well, just no feel. I think that's one thing I like about Mordo as well, because it's all melee. The feedback is really good. Like, you get a sense of when you swing at someone, like, it's almost like you can feel where in the swing your hits land and stuff. But, like, it's things like if you have a sword, obviously you can slash, and if it hits someone, it will still cleave through. So you can, like, if you've got a big executioner's sword and a load of unarmored enemies and you slash, you can literally just cleave through like 3 or 4 people in one swing. But if you've got something blunt, like a big maul, like a sledgehammer, it'll stop on one person unless you hit them in the head. But if you get the head, just the crunch when it hits them is just like...
It was far too big to be considered a sword. They just considered a slab of iron.
Berserk reference. Are you happy you got your Berserk reference in there, Ryan?
Yeah, I had to get it in.
You need to get more down. It's good fun.
Oh, sorry. Go on, Ryan.
Just quickly, I think, like, with this, though, like, with that kind of... where games just don't hit that satisfaction, you know what I mean? Like, you're not feeling that way. You don't feel like you're actually there, which is what you want from a game. It's a reason why I'm kind of like, with like Mordo and stuff like that, I'm a bit more like, well, I'd much rather go and wail on somebody, at a reenactment, like go and try that thing, or just go and actually physically do these things. Like,
I know what you mean. Yeah,
I've kind of
got
I've kind of got this
prime example. I absolutely fucking love shooting. I've been doing it for over a decade now, and I kind of scratched that itch with FPSs and stuff like that. And even with VR, with like hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades, where you can even handle and load them and cock them. And don't get me wrong, compared to just playing a game, that's wicked fun. But there's no comparison to physically feeding in and feeding the bolt. It's just
say it's the same. I know airsoft's not quite the same, but it's similar in that aspect. You know, like I'd much rather. I feel a hell of a lot more of it. Like, yeah, you scratch that itch when you're hitting somebody and you're watching them squeal as you get them, like rather than just like a game.
It's like with you guys, like with the gun, and they're like, yeah, like with UFC, like. There's nothing quite like, you know, being punched in the actual face while sparring.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than beating the living shit out of somebody.
I'm really into this.
But that's, I mean, like, no kink shaming here. But I mean, like, that's the thing. I feel like nowadays, as I've got older, as a kid, I was a bit more, you know, in my teen years, I was more like, there's always going to be a video game that does this better than real life. But I mean, you can't actually like get out there and do stuff. And that's why I've got a hell of a lot more interest nowadays in going out and doing stuff rather than sitting about playing games. Don't get me wrong, I'll sit around and play a few games here and there. Like,
I play a lot of fucking games.
Yeah. But I'd much rather be out there doing stuff now rather than.
Well, I think that, as you said, like, I think most things I'm interested in, I've got a video game to try and replicate it. Like, I've got my racing wheel for sim racing. And I will say, sim racing is good enough if you've got the right simulator to actually practice the real life stuff. Like, I got used to drifting playing Live for Speed, which is a really, really good simulator. It's got like late PS2, early PS3.
I think that's the one I played.
Physics.
I think that's the one I tried.
Physics are fantastic. And then my brother had a Sylvia, and I just jumped into it, and it felt exactly the same. Like, literally, apart from obviously feeling the G-forces, that's the only thing you don't get in a racing simulator.
Unless you've got
no, didn't I do that?
One of the seats.
I'm sure I did that to either you or like Tom when you was driving in that, and I just grabbed hold of your chair and started rumbling it and like turning it as you was doing it.
You can get something called a butt kicker, which is basically like a sub speaker that you fit to the underside of your chair, and it acts as like rumble for your seat. So on racing games, you can feel like the curbs and stuff like that.
Drummers also use that for monitors. They like having the bass drum piped through it, so they can feel the bass drum more.
It's There's like those seats there that you can spend like a few grand on, can't you? Because I saw one at the classic car show.
They tip and stuff, don't they?
And like,
but you're never going to get those. You're never going to get the lateral G-force of that. You're never going to feel it pushing you literally.
Nothing's as good as sending it in my shitty little hairdresser's car, though.
There are sim seats that are able to do the lateral movement now, though. They are out there.
You're not going to be able to do it to a realistic level.
No, you never will.
You'll never be. At the end of the day, when you're going around a corner kind of hard, you're pulling like 1 to 3 Gs in a corner. You can't replicate that without literally doing it. It's just physics.
Yeah. I mean, the closest you could probably get is those. There's those arcade games in Japan where it's literally an RX-7 and a A86.
Yeah.
Where the whole card moving about.
It's the initial D game, isn't it? I think
it's the closest you're going to get to like as close to real life as possible with like the shows of these cars there.
For the immersion.
Me and Ryan are going to go to Japan and we're going to do that race.
I'm Bagsy the RX-7.
I
wanted the A86 anyway.
I do have the I have the Mount Akina track on Assetto Corsa, and obviously the A86 is on it, the RX-7's on it. It's fucking so you can just go full. Kansai Doku. Oh, great. I love it.
Big bunter coming out of the car and you got bruise all up your leg.
Just quickly, briefly going into like fucking anime and manga. Like, I've been getting annoyed recently because there's so many fucking shows about like combat with like guns and like the racing and all these other different sports. But there isn't
like old ones.
But no, even modern day has loads of like sports animes and combat animes and sword fighting animes and all this kind of stuff. There's still fucking none of them which do like good like mixed martial arts fighting. So just
there's like two, isn't there?
There isn't
like
even
Dragon Ball Z.
You've got Hajime no Ippo. Hajime no Ippo is really good because that's like good boxing. It's over the top, but it's got good boxing in it, like actual technique. Yeah. But then like. So I started reading a thing called The God of High School because it looked like it was going to be like loads of like it was a webcomic. It looks like it had like all different styles and stuff like taekwondo and karate and boxing and jiu-jitsu, jeet kune do. I started reading it and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good. And maybe about the whole like premise of it seemed like it was just going to be just good fighting. About maybe 6 or 7 chapters in, it's basically fucking Dragon Ball. Oh, we're using God power. We're charging ourselves up. And as soon as that happened, I instantly dropped it. I was like, no, I'm done.
It's coming up on it's on Crunchyroll at the moment. It's Crunchyroll original because they've just started doing webtoons because they did like Tower of God last season.
They've done Tower of God, Inspector as well, and they've got that one.
That's just the manga adaptation. I'm pretty sure.
Ah, fair enough.
Tower of God and God of High School are God of High School, the anime. Don't get me wrong, like obviously it's not a good like fighting for like getting proper fighting, but it is good. It is hype, and the animation is. I love it.
I've heard the animation is good.
It's so unique to everything else that's been coming out. I'm just like, yo, this is like really nice and refreshing, and Crunchyroll are really slamming it with just getting these kind of shows from webtoons out there. I mean, like really, this season there's not been much good coming out. There's like.
It's because everyone's delayed because of Corona.
There's another Demon Lord one come out, which is funny, but it's just generic, overpowered. Like, but it's a bit funnier than the rest.
You need to go and watch the one I started watching last night, boys.
What's it called? Baku no Piku 2.
Monster Musume no Aisho, I think it's called.
Is that the doctor one?
It's basically
already started.
Monster Girl Doctor, and it's just this doctor who's specializes in monster people medicine, but it's monster just like
this is Monster
it's ridiculous. Like literally one of the beginning things is like, oh, he's doing a check on someone and he's just squeezing her tits, and it's just like,
and then there's his
like, what's it called again?
Monster Musume.
Just type in Monster Girl Doctor and you'll find it.
What I'm we need to talk about, if we're talking about
Monster Girl Doctor, I was going to say the one I usually. Oh, it's only got 1 episode. That's.
It should have more than that.
Well, Crunchyroll has like 6 out of the minute.
Yeah.
But it's funny, but it's just like ridiculous.
Don't you do it?
Uh oh.
Thank you very much. Don't.
Are we going to get a special guest?
No, they can't see him. He's gone. They can't see you. But he's just grinning in the corner of the room. It's like it's a shit-eating grin as well.
It's just off-putting. Thank you for
with going back to like the combat thing quickly though, like there is one manga that I really want them to turn into an anime because it's actually like really, really well done for like mixed martial arts
hold
stuff.
Yourself there. You want them to do it in an anime. Well,
yes,
need them to do it well.
Animated well because it's called All Rounder Megaru. And I was reading it, and it is just basically based off what they call shuto in Japan, which is basically like amateur mixed martial arts, but like all the way the training is done, and all the way the drills are done, and the way the fights are explained, and the way the movements explained. It's like, holy shit, this is actually really. The guy knows his shit. It's like he probably does it himself. So I want that to be animated well because that'd be awesome.
Are there many? Because the thing is, I'm of course the least anime aligned person here, but I do like anime though. Are there many like medieval animes? I can't think of any. I'm sure they're out there.
There's a fair few, but a lot of them have a fantasy element to it.
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
always
issue.
fantasy.
Despite the fact that obviously, like in medieval times, how we know of knights and stuff like that was never part of Japan's culture. Japan is
they fucking love it.
They're so good at it as well with like Dark Souls and stuff. That's a Japanese game, and like not only the aesthetic, but like the the atmosphere and ambience of it is just perfect.
Brilliant.
And also, all aside, Zelda. When you think about it, a lot of the aesthetic of Zelda is like Western,
very Western,
medieval, and like they're so good at it.
With you talking about Berserk, yeah, go watch Berserk. It's brilliant. But no, with you talking about the Dark Souls thing, obviously Dark Souls is a Western-looking game made by Japan, and everyone loves it. Yeah. Everyone praised it.
Miyazaki.
So you've got, I think it was Sucker Punch Studios who made Ghost of Tsushima.
Right.
So this is a Western studio making
a Japanese game, and it's very, very well done. The detail they've put into it. They've even got like they went and watched all the I can't remember. He's like an old school cinema director who did like all the old school Japanese samurai movies, and they've done it amazingly. But loads of like the Western people are like, oh my god, you can't do this, because it's a Japanese culture and all this kind of thing. Yet all the Japanese people and all the Japanese developers are just saying like, yo, sweet game about Japan, bro.
It wasn't specifically the Dark Souls. I'm pretty sure like
it was the Dark Souls fan base, like getting bitchy about it.
As well, like the thing is though, it's not just that. It's just white people being offended for other people cultures sometimes, and it's like shut up. Like shut up. Like they've not got a problem with this, and it's really well done, and they've done their history checks on it.
Yeah, they really went in detail with it. It's amazing the way they've done it. But it's happened with some other stuff as well. There's a series at the minute called Uzaki-chan wa Asobitai, I think it's called, which is basically Uzaki-chan wants to hang out. And it's basically... Yeah, she's basically this 20-year-old girl. They're in college, but she's got quite young features because Japan, but she's got big old titties, like real big old titties. Her shirt even says "Sugoi deke," which is literally wow, big in Japan. That's the kind of thing, and it's just meant to be like a comedy, slight romance show. And there's so many fucking SJWs like raving about it, saying like, "Oh, this figure is completely wrong. It's over sexualization,
children."
But some of the worst bits is people are going in and say, "Oh, I fixed the artwork," and like redrawing her. And it's like, sorry, but we
need to stop. We need to stop. We don't talk about this.
Imagine if someone came to you and changed your artwork and said, "I fixed your artwork." That's just a complete fuck you.
It is.
Western. And I think the best post I've seen on Twitter about this is a girl from Japan, or who is Japanese, who is literally the same proportions as fucking Yuzaki.
She's 20 years old and she has pretty much the same proportions. She's not obviously as big titty wise as the anime, but she like you look at her picture and it's like, damn, she's Japanese, because it's like bam in your face kind of thing. And she literally just posted this picture saying, "So who says 20-year-olds don't have these proportions?" Basically a fuck you to these people.
It's honestly just such a pain in the ass, just like everyone getting super offended for no reason. I mean, just a quick, like, before we kind of get off the subject and start going a little bit too political. Sword Art Online's been back. Oh, damn.
Yeah,
damn.
I'm not caught up. I just started watching it's called War of Underworld, I think it is.
I've
literally watched one episode.
This current season.
Yeah, I watched one episode with Potato Kirito and it made me giggle.
Bro, I've just... latest episode. Oh my god. It's like you've just been sat there hyped up waiting for it to happen for like 2 fucking seasons. I'm like... Damn!
I will probably
leave me on a cliffhanger. I left 3 episodes, so I got 3 episodes to catch up with. Caught up with them, and it left me on another goddamn cliffhanger. I was like, "You bastards!"
I hate shit like that. That's why I got pissed off of Breaking Bad. It's just fucking cliffhanger. The thing is, though,
everyone like slates it so bad, like Sword Art Online. But goddamn,
it's because it's easy to slate. I mean, let's face it. Have you ever watched Sword Art, Ollie?
You've got to.
No, I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
He isn't the Black Swordsman, though.
No, he's not.
That fucking straight.
So you've got the first season.
Is it an anime?
It's an anime, yeah. So
it's
the first season has 2
Sword Art Online sounds like it'd be a game.
Yeah, it is. That's the whole idea. So basically, the idea is it's a VR MMO where basically they put this headset on, and it basically attaches to like the top of your spine or something, and it basically stops you from moving around. It basically puts you in a game world, so you can feel everything, you can sense, all your senses basically get taken over by this game. So they go into this game called Sword Art Online, and when they go in, they realize they can't log
VR MMO.
Yeah, the first big name for this like game system. And when they go in, they realize they can't log out. And the guy who creates the game basically comes out and says, okay, so this, what was it? It's like 100,000 or 10,000 of you are in this game, and you can't log out. And if you die in the game, you'll die in real life. You need to finish the game by getting to the 100th level of the labyrinth and beating the final boss, and then you can escape. And that's the first arc of them do. It's called the Einkrad arc. That's actually pretty good. There's a lot of time skips.
It's some boring shit.
But it's actually a really good show.
There's some cliche episodes, but there always is an anime.
So why do people hate it so much then?
Because after that, it goes fucking downhill fast.
Oh, yeah. Let's not talk about the second part. Well, like, because in Japan, it's not like the second season. It's the second part of the first season. Don't get me wrong. It's not awful.
Does it just kind of lose its way a little bit?
No, it's piss poor writing. It's piss poor writing.
Yeah. They were just trying to keep it going, but they were just like, yeah, just
the guy
get some big old titties.
Yeah, the guy who writes it is not a good writer. And like, I don't care about all these like fans out there that may like call me out on this, but he isn't a good writer. And it shows when you've got a guy on YouTube who basically looked at the second part of the first season, said everything is back to front. Everything is written incorrectly for like a satisfying story. And he goes, I'm not a writer. I'm going to correct all of these issues and you'll be able to see how much better it could have been. And he fixes it in 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So it's that poorly written at times.
The
later stuff, season? It does get better. But
what were your thoughts on the gun gale? Because, like you were saying, Ollie, like this is one where it's like all about guns, but it's like it's a VR gun game as such, isn't it? Like it's it's a battle royale. Before they started doing like battle royale games,
it's called Sword Art. What?
Yeah, so that's because the first game's called Sword Art Online. So all the books are called Sword Art Online, but they have like different subtitles. So like. The second series goes into a game called Gun Gale Online.
There was a spin-off as well from that. But I mean, the Gun Gale was all right. I want the best again, but I think it was all right. I think it was bad.
It's only gotten good probably recently for me, but that's because it feels like there's stakes again.
The latest seasons have definitely been like the movie was okay. The movie was a bit like
the movie was great. The movie was good until he turns in. So basically, Ollie, the issue this series has is rather than giving the lead character actual, genuine like progression and understanding of how he's becoming stronger and showing him learning and training to become stronger and learning from his mistakes, it basically just goes into Kirito God mode and he wins.
Yeah.
That is the biggest issue with the series, in my opinion.
I don't want to be the guy who says that might be what's happening again, but that might be happening again.
Let's move away from this because I did briefly want to talk about actually another game. So we was talking about melee combat in games and stuff, and we've got maybe about 10 minutes left, I'd say.
Yeah. Cyberpunk
2077. Are you guys hype?
Not as much as I used to be.
I was, and now I mean, is there any gameplay or anything yet?
There's loads. There's quite a bit out.
I haven't been following it. I like the idea of it. I saw all like the initial kind of trailers, and I was excited for it. I haven't looked at anything since, and I'm kind of impartial at the moment.
I'm thoroughly excited for this because it's like the guys who obviously did Witcher, so they know how to build worlds, they know how to create these amazing worlds.
And there's talk of there's a theory that the Cyberpunk universe is the same universe as Witcher.
Yeah, because there's a scene where Ciri talks about going to.
Basically, it's a bit where, because obviously it's not a huge spoiler, but like Ciri's able to like teleport basically and go to different worlds. And she talks about a world, and it just sounds like she's just explaining Cyberpunk. Like people like go around in like gleaming metal carriages that fly through the sky, and they have weapons that can kill a man. It was just like everything. It sounds like someone from the medieval times explaining Cyberpunk. I'll try and find the exact quote, but like it's obviously it's probably just meant to be a little Easter egg. But
I think that was their main thing with that.
Well, because they did have.
You can't really do much with that, though, can you? Unless they like somehow put her in the game, and they're like,
because they were making Cyberpunk from before The Witcher 3, because the original teaser, was like that really cool artwork. But I'm really excited for Cyberpunk just because like it's more like sci-fi futuristic stuff, which has always kind of been my jam anyway. So it's like I'm thoroughly down for this.
I'd lost my hype for like your Cyberpunk, your space age stuff.
But it has Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, Keanu Reeves is great and amazing, and I love him.
Should buy the game just for Keanu Reeves himself.
The gameplay I saw, and like when they originally said about it, I was like, yo, third person, would love this. You know, I really want another third person game because there's not much coming out that I'm like interested in third person wise. And then they were like, oh, it's first person only. I was a bit like, okay, it's still good, but I was hoping they were going to put another kind of third person game out. And then I saw the gameplay, like a clip of the gameplay, and it didn't entertain me as much. Whether it's just because the demo they picked wasn't very good.
Which demo was this one?
It was one where they were like bouncing around a warehouse somewhere. They're like going.
Oh, that's one of the earlier ones. So they have recently had like I think 50 minutes of gameplay recently, and it looks like some of the issues that I had from that original E3 gameplay have been tidied up, and they're still doing things now, because I remember reading somewhere that they're still not happy with the way the melee combat is. Like even now, they're still not happy with it, and there's maybe rumor mill potential that they might be delaying again to get that nailed.
The thing is, who cares when you know they're gonna come out with a solid game? Because like, don't get me wrong, The Witcher's combat's not good, but don't tell me that
it's
like
not bad. For 3 at least, it's a bit weird depending on what you're used to.
You won't have anybody who will go, the Witcher games are poorly made. Like, yes, the combat's bad, but that's like the only thing you'll hear when it comes to like the first.
That's it. Everything else is superb.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, when you know you're getting such a quality, they've already like all their products have been so quality. You've kind of got that confidence in them, like which you don't have with Activision, say anymore. Obviously, they're a publisher, but with just the games, they're just.
I don't have with most developers at this point.
Yeah, this is what I mean, and it's like you can still hold it and go right. Just let them do what they're doing because we know they'll do a good job. And like, don't get me wrong. I just don't know. I'm just not as hype as I used to be. I think it's going to have to they're going to have to put some more of like Keanu Reeves clips somewhere that will hype me.
I just want Keanu Reeves to give me some sultry turns on where I need to go. It's like, yo, dog, you got a quest just to your right. Okay, Keanu, I'm going that way, Keanu.
I love you, Keanu.
Please tell me I'm doing well, Keanu. You're doing good, kid. Yes.
You've got a city to burn, samurai. Oh, don't get me wrong. Like he's just,
he's so fucking
another awesome figure on like in just film culture.
I usually never give a shit about like wanting to meet celebrities or anything like that. I usually couldn't give a fuck about that kind of stuff, but I would love to just be able to just have a 5-minute moment with Keanu and just shake his hand and say, you are such a nice man and I really enjoy your movies.
Future podcast guest?
Oh, that would be amazing. Like, if we ever got big enough, we could have
Please share our podcast.
Keanu.
We need Keanu Reeves.
We don't want anyone else.
It would be an hour of us three just fawning over Keanu Reeves. That's all it would be.
Keanu, you're so dreamy.
Questions I'd love to ask him about, like... just John Wick and like, oh my gosh, I love those films. I don't care what anybody says.
John Wick are amazing movies.
Acting's awesome, mate. I just want to see Keanu Reeves being a goddamn badass, and that's what I get to see, and I love it.
I just want Keanu Reeves the movie.
Yeah. Well, that's John Wick.
They're doing the new thingy though, aren't they? They're doing the new Ted and
Bill and Ted Face the Music. That's the next one. See, one thing I'd really, really like to do actually is because obviously Keanu Reeves keeps up with all his firearms training, his combat training, and his judo training.
He does practical shooting.
I'd really love to like do some grappling sparring with Keanu Reeves because he is actually very good at it. I'd love to do that. Just like, I'm grappling with Keanu Reeves and then he fucking judo throws me. It's like, that was amazing, Keanu. Good job.
I love you.
He's got me in like an arm bar about to break my arm. Oh, wow, you're just so good at this. I love you.
The thing is, though, you can tell your grandkids, Granddad, tell us about the time Keanu Reeves broke your arm. Well, kid, settle down. Have you got your arm cut?
It wouldn't be that. It would be a... But let me tell you the story, children.
Yeah. Get your grandma to tell you. Oh, Keanu. Oh, don't touch me there.
Keanu Reeves needs to do an Audible like audiobook series of just like bedtime stories for adults.
Yeah. Just
get him to like read like the John Wick novelization, or what if there is one, or get him to read like some of the like Matrix side stories. Just get him to read that to me at night. I'd love that.
Yeah, I like you say. I've got no interest in like famous people to an extent, but Keanu Reeves is definitely somebody like I'd just love to be able to meet him on the street and just go, bless you.
You're an amazing person.
Yeah. Because he just is. He's just so nice. And he's such a genuine person, which you don't see enough in the...
Well, there's always those videos of him like on like a train in New York or something, giving up his seat just for like random people like who are like carrying bags, or like I think there was one I saw recently of him giving up his seat for a pregnant lady, or there was an elderly gentleman, he gives up his seat, and then like...
He's just a normal person.
Yeah, he's just such a kind man.
I'm not, though. I'm a cunt.
I am an awful person.
So I don't know if he'd want to talk to me. You'd be like...
Keanu, you're an amazing person, and I would love to shake your hand, but I'm worried I might taint you.
I feel like taint you, yeah. Let me put these gloves on, and I'll never get rid of them.
Just talk about a game before we wrap up. Kind of moving on from Cyberpunk. Have either of you chaps heard of Atomic Heart?
Yes, I was looking at it.
Kind of like Russian Fallout meets Portal meets other things.
Stalker.
Yeah, it's hard to. It's got like this really. No, not yet. A new gameplay trailer came out 5 days ago, I think.
I watched it. I randomly found it, and bro, I
fucking love the aesthetic. It's got a really cool, like, sci-fi horror vibe to it, but also like obviously it's got
that Soviet wave stuff.
I'm sure this was
so good.
This was actually unveiled at like an E3 because I remember
it was ages ago. It's been in the works for a long time.
This was back when I worked at the game studio because I was sitting watching it with some of the audio designers, and we was just listening to some of the audio design. Like, it was incredible.
The sound they've got some. They've acquired someone for the soundtrack. I'm trying to think who it fucking was. Let's have a look.
I've got to say, with this style of game, like, don't get me wrong, I ain't a commie. But instantly
bursts into the Soviet anthem.
the communist, like, there's just this vibe, this gritty, but like so nice. Like, they just had this kind of like, their aesthetic was just like, they just did something different. Like, you know, where like America has that aesthetic, like from, I suppose, obviously the space race, just the like cosmonaut, it sounds so cool. And then all the other kind of stuff they did. And then just like I saw a video of a guy doing an old Russian Soviet chainsaw. And it looks nothing like a Western style chainsaw.
I was going to say, I think
about it, and you're just like, it's just got that, just like, oh.
To me, I think that's exactly what you're saying. Like, it's kind of like everything you see in film, media, and just generally games, just generally from a Western perspective. So it always looks kind of familiar to something that you kind of already see. But I think what it is with Russian stuff is that it's just like the same technology, but a totally different viewpoint. So everything looks so much different, and that's why I like it.
Yeah.
Because I just love the aesthetic of it. But yeah.
It's not so much the same with Japan as well, but that's what I like. I like that, like, before I used to be one of these people, I'm like, oh, British only or American and like, you know, Western stuff. But I've got to this point where I'm just like, I really respect just like the different cultures and the different, like, I've become a lot more open to stuff and like watching, like indulging in media like that.
I think music, one of the, oh, sorry, go on, Ryan.
Yeah, like I've been listening to this guy on YouTube. And he does like mixes of old music and like records, and he gets like people in, like he's got Brazilian friends who do Brazilian stuff, and like they'll just have like a playlist where they'll sit there, they're just records of like old Soviet music, Japanese music, and it's just this. I love just being able to like experience all these different cultures and just like, because this is just a perspective on the world that isn't Western, and it's different.
I think one of the things that really, it's weird how it's actually considered a detriment, but it actually helped create that, like, for lack of a better term, call it style. Because obviously Russia is a land unto itself. Like, there's very few influences from outside of Russia that really get in there, apart from obviously probably maybe modern day. But obviously Japan, they closed the island. Japan closed the island. They wouldn't let anyone in or out the island for fucking years. So they were their own closed ecosystem, and they still kind of are their own closed ecosystem. And they've built this culture without having any outside influence. So when you look at it from, like we are, an outside influence, it looks completely different to anything we expect. Yeah. I think that's one of the big draws of that kind of stuff, is like, it's stuff that you've seen, it's stuff you understand, but like even just like simple things like a door over here and a door over there, it's like they are both functionally the same, except one slides open to save space, one pulls open because that's what we did. It's just like that crazy, like, it works, but it's
solving the same problem from a different perspective, isn't it? It does the exact same thing but totally different.
So like in the UK, obviously we don't really have natural disasters. You know, you might hear there's been an earthquake on the A52.
That's all we have.
Oh, Jesus Christ, it knocked my alarm clock off the thing and it woke me right up.
It made one of my plant pots fall over.
Yeah, that's what I mean. In Japan, they're like, you know, we have this every other day, you know, and it's like triple the experience of what we'd get. So like they obviously, like, the way they adapt to all that and the way they do stuff is completely different. And like this is something I've loved kind of looking into more, is getting that kind of depth. But I don't want to get too much into it because I feel like we could probably do like a whole podcast where we just talk about
let's cultural stuff. What we'll do is then we'll pin that, we'll write that in the chat, and we'll probably look at a few other subjects on that kind of area that we can go into again at another point. But
just so before we finish as well, the guy that I was on about with the records and stuff called My Analog Journal, amazing, definitely worth looking at.
As well, sorry, the soundtrack for Atomic Heart, it's Mick Gordon, who did Doom Eternal.
Bless.
Yeah.
Mick Gordon is fucking like daddy audio, let's face it.
Yeah, and he's doing the soundtrack for Atomic Heart, so...
Amazing.
So, we realised this previously, so this episode is going to be another pre-recorded one that you're hearing, but I'm actually going to be back for the 29th. Ryan isn't going to be on holiday on the 29th, so we should be able to get a proper live podcast out on the 29th. To keep up to date on that, to make sure that is happening or isn't happening, follow us on Twitter at ContextNeeded1. You can also send us memes, because memes.
Need more memes.
Memes are very important for, you know, staying out of the existential crisis of life, but different time, different conversation. And you can also, if you want to get all prim and proper, email us, contextneededuk@gmail.com.
Send us an electronic email, good sir. Send us an electronic mail.
If
An electronic telegram.
If your email doesn't have a proper subject and a proper footer, heading, and goodbye, it will be deleted instantly.
It needs to be formatted like a proper letter.
As well with a cover letter. A cover letter, a mission statement.
I need an abstract to understand exactly what you want to get across from the email in 40 words or less. But anyway, yep, so things are changing. Things are moving forward. We will probably, in the next one, which will hopefully be live, we'll give you a bit more of an update on what's going to be happening going forward. But until then, I've been Kyle, joined with Ryan and Ollie. He's got the chance.
I was waiting to say something.
He always does this. You always wait for him to say something. He just jazz hands you instead.
It's got to be fabulous, hasn't it? Got to get it out there.
God, I hate you so much.
And that's the end of Context Needed. No more episodes. That's it. We're all done.
Wait, what episode is this now? Like, what are we on?
This is 19. This is episode 19.
Jeez. It feels like we've done so many more.
Well, we did have that brief moment where we was doing 2 a week.
Yeah,
so,
I think that's what's done it. Yeah.
Yeah, we try. We don't do that anymore. It got to the point where we were struggling to find conversation, and also real life took over.
I've got Henty to read. Thank you very much.
I got Henty to watch.
Oh no! Wait, there was a bad. We don't want to talk about Henty.
I'm going to watch some 3D people.
I watch real people.
IRL.
Heretic.
Well,
anyway, I got a new telescope and everything.
Oh.
Well, we will. On that note, we will see you guys later. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for listening, and we will see you guys soon.
Bye now.
Bye.
Ollie made me watch.